At last.
Hi, Chairperson. I'm really good. Congratulations on winning the election to remain president. That's nice to have you still around, and really good that you injected that £160,000 into the club as well, because that's going to really help us. Means that we hopefully don't have to get rid of as many players as we would have. I'm just checking. Now that you've injected that money into the club, we don't need to proceed with the sale of Flavio Trubia that you guys did, do we?
Yes, we are still settling him.
But he was only leaving for £9,000. I don't understand why he still needs to go if I've got £160,000 in the bank. Hello? Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 15 of Husavik Heroes here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and today we enter the quarterfinals of the Icelandic Cup, the Mjólkurbikarinn, and take on the cellar dwellers of our division at the moment in Fram Reykjavik at home. So if you're looking forward to that game, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you are enjoying the series here on the channel and have not done so already, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But we are still in the middle of the transfer window. As you would have seen, we made some signings in yesterday's episode, which if you missed, I'll leave a link to that above my head in the top right corner. So to start things off, we have made some more transfers, and in fact we have only made the one addition to the squad. The transfers that have happened since yesterday have mostly been sales, not all of them done by me, as you might have been able to tell by the intro. But the player that we did bring into the club is another Italian midfielder who should be able to take over the box-to-box midfield role from the man that we signed from Manchester United yesterday. He could go into the Carolero role, could Federski, but Ricardo Boscalo-Chio has come to the club on an amateur contract as a squad player. He's probably going to remain that way for the rest of this season anyway, but it's going to help us have a good midfield next season when a certain player currently at the club does leave, as you would have been able to tell by the intro. But he is a very solid signing, 3.5-star current ability, and is another player who has recently spent some time at Inter Milan, so a good pickup for us there, Ricardo Boscalo-Chio. But we have got rid of a few players. First off, we loaned out Stein Grimson, wasn't getting a lot of action here at the club this year, was this midfielder come winger, so we decided to let him go. His contract is expiring at the end of the season anyway, so he's going to leave the club at the end of the season. Not a very talented player in comparison to the rest of the squad these days. His progress graph, which is probably right behind my head, not too sure if you guys can see that, it is declining quite rapidly. So we've let him go. He's going to be leaving the club. We also let go Nikola Juk for £6,000. We've signed quite a few replacement wingers now, so he felt like a player who we could get rid of for some cash. But then the board went over our heads and decided to sell Flavio Trubia to top tier Bladablik. This is a frustrating transfer because after the wheels were put in motion for this transfer, the elections took place. The president, who was already at the club, remained at the club. He put in a big cash injection, but still decided that we needed the money from selling Flavio Trubia, which is really annoying because he has been one of our best midfielders at the club this season. Luckily, we do have him back on loan for the rest of this season, but a frustrating transfer that one, as he was a player who I was pinning quite a bit of hope on for the next few years in the Save the Young Belgian. Unfortunately, we might be going up against him next season when he does join Bladablik, but that was a transfer I did not want to happen, but the board overruled us. Apparently, we needed the near £9,000 for that transfer to help out our finances. But if we go over to the finance page, you can see it does look pretty good. It's not ideal. It still has some work to do, but we are certainly in a much better position than we have been recently, going from something like a minus £90,000 overall balance up to £54,000. And we are now getting quite deep into this Icelandic Cup, so we will be getting some money out of that competition, as well as hopefully the one dield as well, if we can secure promotion. So a little bit frustrating, that transfer. Don't think in the end we needed that extra £9,000, but it was a board transfer, and unfortunately I can't do much about that one. So unfortunately Flavio Trubia is probably not going to be a Volsungur player after the end of this season. And we also got rid of Asgar Kristjansson, our main striker from last season, who played in the advanced forward role alongside Olgierson when we had the two strikers up front. He was not getting much game time this year, overall ability and potential ability had decreased, and we let him go to rivals Glotta on a free transfer. So more outgoings than ingoings, but what we did in yesterday's episode does count for that somewhat. So still think we've got a stronger squad than what we had leading into this transfer window, but that sale of Trubia, even though we've got him back on loan, is a little bit frustrating. It has to be said, but we'll move on from the transfers now. The window is about to end. Probably not going to do too much more business. Time to focus on the back end of this season. And before we get into this game today against Fram Reykjavik, we have played a few league games since the end of yesterday's episode. And these were some tough league games as well. First off, an away trip to Fjolnir, and we got off to a terrible start there. They're scoring from a corner just shy of the 5-minute mark, and we went 1-0 down early to the team that we did beat in the League Cup final. Then sloppy work again at the back there at the 14-minute mark, and they went 2-0 up early. Did Fjolnir. That was the halftime score. We did pick a goal back around the hour mark. DuPont makes his way down the left-hand side. Swiderski with a wonderful strike, his first goal for the club, an absolute screamer. But that was our only goal of the game, and we do suffer defeat away at Fjolnir. You look at the stats, we probably should have at least got a draw out of that game, but we looked a little bit rough in the highlights that we did see from that game and dropped points, albeit away from home. And we had another tough away trip off the back of that at Afteralding, and they got off to a decent start in this game as well at the 24-minute mark. Takes that around, Badu does Spance on, and they do go 1-0 up, and not too long off the back of that, just shy of the half-hour mark. They got a quick double to make it 2-0. Bjarnason off the ball there for Connor, and he wraps that into the top left corner. And we did go 2-0 down fairly early. Luckily, though, we did get a goal back just shy of halftime. Nice finish there from Spasic on the counter-attack. And we did have it 2-1 just before halftime, but then straight off the back of that goal, they got one back right before halftime. Svantson Badu there tries to pull off a save, ends up in no man's land, and Connor ends up with his second goal and makes it 3-1 going into halftime. We did get a goal back very early on in the second half, though, thanks to Dordovic with a header at the far post. And then in injury time, Dordovic looked like he might be trying to do something similar there, misses the header, and then Flavio Trubia on loan puts that in the back of the net, and we end up rescuing a 3-3 draw away from home. Looking at how that game went, not the worst result there away at Afteralding. Off the back of that, we did return home for a game against Glotta. Very good team, this one, right up there with us in the league. They were a little bit messy at the back there in the 24th minute, the ball falling to Pescatola, and that was the only goal in that game. The Italian, the former Inter Milan man, getting the only goal, and we pick up a much-needed 3 points after those prior 2 games. And the last game heading into today's episode was an away trip to Cordlinger, a team who are struggling towards the bottom of the league. They do have Bitter Gecko, and they got a penalty at the 67-minute mark, tucked it away. But with 4 of an hour to go, we got the ball in the back of the net with Baldursson coming off the bench to score from a corner. And we can only muster a 1-1 draw, albeit away from home. We do tend to struggle. I think most teams in this league struggle away from home, but not a great result, that one. It has to be said, against the team down near the bottom, only able to pick up a 1-1 draw at Cordlinger. So what that means for the one dield table going into this Icelandic Cup quarter-final is we are still top, but boy, we could be doing it a lot more comfortably. That most recent run of form has not been great. Those first 3 games were against the teams in and around us. You can see there we have Fjolnir second, Afteralding third, and Glotta fourth. So that kind of matches the results that we got in those games most recently. We are still just above all of those teams, very tight, the top 5 on the table with 7 games left to go. We are on top, so that's good, but really need to pick up our form off the back of today's episode, where the game should be getting a little bit easier, considering that we have played those teams right down below us already in the second part of the season. We should have a slightly easier run home than most of the teams around us will have, and hopefully we can at least make our way out of the one deal this season and go up to the top division and really start trying to do some build a nation stuff in this save. But today we are taking on Fram Reykjavik, a team who we only just scraped by in the highlights that you were seeing in the game in yesterday's episode. 5-4 away from home. They are down in 11th, just above Cordlinger, who we just got a draw with. So we definitely need to respect these guys. But at home, I'm hoping this is a game that we can pick up a win in and make our way through to the semi-finals. If we do go back and have a quick look at the quarter-final draw for this competition, you can see there is only one team from the top division left in this. It's looking very similar to how it worked out in the League Cup. That team is Hafnaf Jodor, and they are taking on Grotta away from home. That is a quite winnable game, I feel, for Grotta. So definitely another competition that could work out where there are no top tier teams left for the last few stages of this competition. That would suit us much like it did in the League Cup earlier this season. It would be an interesting case if a team down below the top division did end up in the Conference League qualifiers for next season. But going into today's game against Fram Reykjavik, unfortunately, we are going to the medical centre, and that is because we have had a little bit of an injury crisis since yesterday's episode. Papazicki was out. He is nearly back, but we've suffered 3 more injuries. Ramey had his first start in one of those most recent games, a player that we did pick up in yesterday's episode, and he tore his thigh muscle after about 10 minutes on the pitch. Luckily, he's on an amateur contract because he is out for 2 to 3 months. Laidason is a player we're not too worried about not getting much game time here at the moment. Anyway, he's out for 3 to 5 weeks. The most serious injury, he's nearly back from it. That is Ledson. He suffered a thigh strain. He is going to be missing from today's game, though, out for 4 to 8 days. So that means we have it to make a little bit of rotation, still focusing a little bit more on the league as well. It means that we've had to put out a fairly heavily rotated team going into today's game. You can see some interesting names there. Effiong is back from early days this season from the League Cup. He's going to get a start at right back. Akuma is going to get a start alongside Baldason at the back, despite the fact that he is about to head to Swindon Town at the end of the season. We've got the Pont at left back, as you would expect, being our best fit left back at the moment. The midfield looks a little bit all over the shop. We've got Spasic at the halfback alongside Trubia in the Caralero, and our new signing Bosello Shio in the box-to-box midfield role. We've got Dordovic on the right wing. That's usual. We've got Pishatola on an opposite wing to what he's used to. He's going to fill in for Ledson in this game, and Olgierson gets a start as Stefansson does need a rest. So it's a fairly rotated squad, trying to keep our players fresh for the league, but also keeping in mind that Fram Reykjavik are down towards the bottom of the league at the moment, and this team being a little bit fresher than our first 11 for the league would be, can hopefully still get the result against these guys. So hopefully we'll be making our way through to a semi-final of this Icelandic League Cup in tomorrow's episode, and we'll come back shortly from the Husavik Heroes to see if we can get the job done. Just shy of the half-hour mark, and we do have the first highlight of this game. We are in our home Northern Lights uniform from Reykjavik there in the white. It's 4 shots to none at the moment, so we've started off well, but this is the first highlight that we do see, and Peshatola makes his way down the left, puts a ball in. The goalkeeper with a bit of a boo-boo, Dordovic, could he get a shot off? Puts it in there for Flavio Trubia. Who else would it be in today's episode? The man who unfortunately is here on loan from Bladderblick, but still, he is at the club. He has been a good player for us this season and continues to do so in that Caralero role. He opens the scoring in the first highlight. Bit of a whoopsie from Olafsson there in goal. Dordovic puts the ball back into the mixer fairly soon after regaining it, and Trubia from just outside the inner box slots that away, and we go 1-0 up here in the quarterfinal of the Icelandic Cup. And that is half-time in this game. Just that one highlight from the first half, a goal to Flavio Trubia, but you look at the stats, we probably just deserve the lead at the moment, albeit we are going to have to make a triple change here at half-time because there are a few regular starters in this game who are getting down to red hearts just leading in to half-time. So I think we are looking pretty good in this game. We'll try and keep the bodies fresh for the league because I think if push came to shove, we'd rather get promoted this season than win the Icelandic Cup, as the only real reward, apart from the prize money, is that Conference League qualifier spot. And truth be told, not too sure how far we'd go in Conference League qualifiers next season. So I think we're going to have to prioritise the league over the cup at the moment. We could possibly do both, but we're going to have to make some changes with that in mind. So we have 3 regular starters down to Yellow Hearts. Dordovic is the most notable one. He is going to go off for Morad, and Morad is a little bit more of a natural left winger than Peshatola as well. So we'll switch those guys around. The other 2 regular starters down to Yellow Hearts are Hugo DuPont. So Stefansson can come on for him, and also Flavio Trubia got the goal. We'll save him for the league as well, and coming on for him will be Peterson, but it does mean we're just going to mix things up a little bit in the midfield. Spasic can go to the box-to-box and Chio to the Caralero. So 3 changes at half-time. Hopefully that works out okay, but we do hold a 1-0 lead as we kick off the second 45 minutes. And 10 minutes into the second half, we do have our first highlight of it, another clearance from the Fram Reykjavik goalkeeper, but we do win possession back and hopefully can pick up a cushion goal at some stage in the second half of this game, having used all 3 subs. If we get down to red hearts and it does square up, it will be quite interesting to see how the boys react. But we get the ball to Peshatalo, tries to put that in the top right corner just wide, and still it remains 1-0. And not too long off the back of that shot from Peshatalo, we do have a free kick just outside the box. Really good territory. Spasic tries to put it top left, comes off the upright, and there's a Fram Reykjavik player there to clear that away. We go close, but still 1-0. 71 minutes gone now. Another highlight which starts with a clearance from the Fram Reykjavik goalkeeper. Stefansson wins the header, puts it up to Morad. Some of our bench players getting involved. And can we get this cushion goal? Morad takes it on himself. Potentially should have tried a pass there. Goes high and wide. And we're still 1-0, but with only quarter of an hour left to go. Getting very late in this game now, up to the 88-minute mark. We have a free kick, and Badu gets that out to Stefansson, just looking to keep the ball there. A bit of an iffy pass, though. And Fram Reykjavik are in possession. Only 1 goal down if they get one back here. I'm not too sure if games go to extra time or straight to penalties in this Icelandic Cup, but we would find out if they got a goal. Nice ball trying to find old Gerson there. The goalkeeper clears it straight to Effiong. No ball over the top for Peshatalo, who has looked fairly threatening in this game. Again, his rating doesn't really reflect that, but when he is on the ball, he looks quite dangerous, and we put a nice ball in there for old Gerson. He nearly picks up an assist, but he is offside there. Is old Gerson has had a bit of a rough day up front, it has to be said, replacing Stefansson, only on a 6.3 rating. The ball was on, but he was just a stride offside. And at the 89-minute mark, it does remain 1-0, but with only 2 minutes of added time. It was a little bit of a dull game, that one, it has to be said, but we did dominate it, and we make our way through to the semi-finals of the Icelandic Cup. So the dream of European football, even if it's only qualifiers next season, is still alive. Pretty fair result, I think it's fair to say. And we'll come back shortly and see who we draw in the semi-finals for tomorrow's episode. And we are back in the inbox, about to make the draw in the semi-final. And you will notice down below, Grota did win their tie. So we are probably the highest ranked team left in this competition. And we are the first name that gets drawn. And we are going to get Selfoss. Would have been nice if we got KB. So we are taking on Selfoss in tomorrow's episode. It will be KB against Grota. And that is going to be an interesting tie against Selfoss. It is at our home ground though, so that will be a big advantage. They are down in 10th in the one dield, so I suppose we avoided Grota, so that was quite nice. But Selfoss could have been nice if we got KB, but we will take Selfoss, and at home that is a game that we should be winning. And you will notice when we look at the schedule leading into tomorrow's game, we have got those guys straight off the back of this in the league at home as well. So if we can win that game, that will be a nice psychological edge going into that Icelandic Cup semi-final, where we are probably going to have to expect to take on Grota if we can make it that far, with them being drawn against an opponent down in the 4th tier in the dield. So that's what you've got to look forward to in tomorrow's episode. We are getting quite close now to a potential cup double, and we are still top of the one dield as well, so it could be a treble winning season potentially here at Volsungur. We'll wrap that up over the next 2 episodes, and hopefully it will be the first of many successful seasons domestically here at Volsungur in this Build a Nation save. But if you did enjoy today's episode, a few transfers, still not thrilled about the Trubia one, and also a win in the Icelandic Cup quarterfinal over Fram Reykjavik, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. And until tomorrow for the Icelandic Cup semi-final against Selfoss, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.